We're having the backdrop in?
Yeah, let's have it in.
Yeah. Oh, do you not want to play it in, do you?
Do you want to sit on his car? That'd be hilarious.
Piss him off on it.
Coogan Cassius, IFL TV here at Wembley Arena, the return of the Saint card. With me, I've got the IBF WBA super middleweight champion Carl Froch. This is Eddie's Bentley, by the way, isn't it? So,
yeah, I'm watching it for him.
Interesting.
Looking after it.
I appreciate that you've just answered a load of questions there, so I apologise, but this is for a different audience. So, first of all, how did you assess Mr. Groves' performance tonight?
I thought he was all right. He did okay, didn't he? He came here on the back of that devastating knockout, and he kept his mind strong. He was confident. He got in there with self-belief, but you know he's got bags of self-belief. So he had a lot of self-belief when he fought me twice. So you got to give him that. He's a confident young kid. To answer your question, he came. He did what he had to do. He beat the European champion. He can go home tonight quite proud of himself. He's
now mandatory to Anthony Dirrell's title. Is this the right fight and the one fight that he needed after them two successive defeats to get himself straight back into a world title fight? Was that the right thing to do, or is that the right thing to do?
Well, he's just got 12 rounds in the bag, and you know, he's got the European title now under his belt. He's got it actually as his belt, so he's now in a position where he's mandatory for the WBC world title. If you're asking me straight up, does George Groves beat Anthony Dirrell based on that performance? I'd say no. Not just no chance, because I thought he was breathing too heavy from round 2-3. I thought he got hit too often, and he looked like he got hurt in round 4. I saw his, I mean, I know what I'm looking at. I can see fighters, and I can read them, and I can see what's going off. And I saw him hurt in there, and it's a bit worrying because REBRASSE isn't known for being a puncher. He's not a puncher. So to get hurt against someone like that, you've got to be a bit concerned. And his fitness doesn't seem to be, but he's never been one of these kind of fighters that finishes strong. He always sort of hangs in there at the end, and that's what he did tonight. He sort of hung in there, stuck with it, and got the win. But REBRASSE wasn't ambitious at all, very limited. It was a European level fight. That's what it looked like. He looked like, you know, he won the European title tonight. He deserved to, but it almost. I don't want to look like I'm being too critical, because if I'm critical to George Groves, it looks like I'm bitter, and I'm not. You know, even mentioned me there tonight about maybe have a third fight. It's 2-0.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
Well, I just think it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's 2-0. You know, when it's 1-1 in the pub, you have a decider on the pool table, don't you, for your 10 quid. But when it's 2-0, you go home, and that's it. I'm going home now. Ta-ta. So, a fight with me, I think he knows it's tongue-in-cheek, and he knows it can't happen. And I think deep down he knows if it did happen, he gets sparked out again. Like, you know, everyone else knows that's going to happen. He's getting knocked out by the Cobra again, and he don't want that to happen, really. So, does he fight Anthony Dirrell, to answer your question, in his next fight? If he does he win? No, he doesn't win. He doesn't beat Anthony.
Being a mandatory challenger, he should obviously...
He's mandatory.
Yeah.
He should really take the opportunity and potentially, you know, go for it. But if you're managing George Groves, you're thinking to yourself, right, I'm going to just take my time. He's young enough to do a bit more, get a bit more experience, build his stamina up, build his confidence up a bit more. I know he's very, very confident, but his confidence in a good win, because that wasn't a great win tonight. Before he challenges for a world title, he's in no rush, I don't think. But maybe he is in a rush. He seems to be rushed himself. He wants to be a world champion. So maybe he'll jump in and fight Anthony Dirrell in his next fight. But if you're asking me honestly, with no bitterness, I don't think he can do it. I think he'll get beat. Final
question on George Groves. Do you believe that George Groves will win a world title in his career?
I think he will. I think he can win a world title, but it's going to be against the right opponent. So if you're asking me, will he? I can't predict who's going to be around. I mean, I've just said there on Sky TV. Alf Abraham knocks him out. I'm sorry, but he does. Mikel Kessler beats him, and Mikel Kessler's now past his best. Who else is there? Sakir Bika's just lost to Anthony Dirrell. I think Anthony Dirrell beats him. Who else would you put him in there with? I don't know. In his very next fight, I don't think he wins a world title at the current world champions. Yeah. He can't go in with Carl Froch, the Cobra, because he's lost twice to me. He's been sparked out bad in his last fight.
Okay, moving away from that now. Tumble, how's it been going? I saw that backflip you done, which is incredible, but also
tuck back. You want a backflip? Backflips on the hands. Get the terminology right. If you're going to talk gymnastics.
What happened?
I did a tuck back. You just said it was a backflip. It's not a backflip.
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
What about the one you showed me?
On your hands.
Oh right. What about the one you showed me? The one that went wrong.
Well, the one that went wrong was terrible. That's what you get when you think you're better than what you are.
Have you noticed a different audience in your profile wise since you've been on this show?
Massively. I crossed over to the housewife, and it's quite nice, but. It's not nice when they stop you on the street and say, how you doing, Carl Froch? You're amazing, you're amazing. You did so well in tumble. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I'm also champion of the world boxer. But they don't know that. They just know me for being a gymnastic Saturday night entertainer. on a BBC show that's done and dusted.
Right.
But it is what it is. It's crossed over to a whole new audience. It served its purpose. I actually really enjoyed show night. The training was very intense, 4-6 hours a day training, but a lot of it was core strength, and I'm quite strong in the core just because of the boxing training. Most boxers are, you know, a lot of our dips and pull-ups and sit-ups and leg raises and all the stuff we do to get ourselves in shape. It's quite the foundation work for gymnastics. But my range of movement's very limited, my flexibility. So there's certain things like a backflip that I can't do. But I can do a tuck back somersault, front somersault, a pike front. I can go on the parallel bars and swing to handstand and all these different things. But I don't think I'll be taking it up full time because it's too late for me, unfortunately.
Okay. Eddie Hearn revealed to me earlier on that the O2 has been booked for your next fight, primarily on the 31st of January. That's what he said. Opponent-wise, is it obviously yet to be decided. James DeGALE being the front runner.
I think what Eddie Hearn wants is, or what he's trying to push is, for the only fight at the minute that seems to be potentially a reality in Eddie's eyes, and maybe Sky TV's eyes as well. I'm not sure how everyone's looking at it, but if you're realistic, there's nothing else at the minute happening with Chavez Jr. and Kessler 3. That's always going to be a big fight. It's always going to be there for as long as we're both still fighting. But because he's mandatory, young James DeGALE, that's the fight that they're trying to say, look, this really is the only option, because that's there. That's potentially can happen. So that's why they're talking about it. And they've had to look at venues, and I think 31st of May, January, the O2's available. Yeah. So, yeah, January 31st, O2, James DeGALE. You've not heard it here first. So apparently that's what I'm doing.
All right, okay. If you could have any fight out there for your next fight, would
Chavez
you?
Jr. in Las Vegas. That's what I want to do. I want to go to Las Vegas. I want to box in Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world. Yeah. And I want to do that because I've not done that in my career. If you said to me, you've now got to fight this geezer, DeGALE, at the O2 at the end of January,
it's still a massive fight here.
It's a big fight. It's a decent fight. Listen, everybody I speak to, other than the hardcore box, even the hardcore box fan, other than like you, they're not that interested. The feedback I'm getting,
but what are you going by? Are you going by Twitter, or what are you going by? Like just general people talking to you?
General public. I'm going by the hardcore boxing fan. Yeah. The hardcore boxing fan. I don't know what you're classed as because you're saying it's a big fight.
It is a big fight, regardless of what you say.
You just don't like James DeGALE. You want to see him get knocked out because you know.
I like James DeGALE.
You know if James DeGALE fights me, he's getting KO'd.
No, but it's a big fight.
Because you told me that earlier. You said if you fight James DeGALE, it's fucking over for him. He just wants paying and he's getting KO'd. And he knows that as well as I do and as well as most people, but unfortunately that don't sell the fight. Him just wanting to earn a bit of cash because he's had he's struggled in his career and he's not had the big fight. He wants the money fight. He knows that he's got to fight the Cobra for the money fight, but if he thinks that he can force me into a fight or tell me that he's got to fight me because he's mandatory, then he's going to get a shock. He might end up fighting for the IBF title against Joe Bloggs. Are you more than willing to vacate that
title if it meant you being pushed into a fight you didn't want to fight?
I won't be pushed into anything. Yeah. It's impossible, you know. And there's so many options for me, and if that doesn't involve the IBF title, then unfortunately for everybody but Carl Froch, then that won't happen.
You said to me earlier that it's not about belts anymore, is it? You've won it all now anyway, so
I think when I fight, I'm not big-headed, I'm not brash, I'm not over the top, but when I box, it's not about the world titles, it's about me boxing. People want to see me fight, they know it's entertaining, they know it's going to be a good fight. So
is it about keeping your legacy intact?
Whether it's for the IBF title, that's important, got to keep my legacy intact. The last thing I want to do is fight and potentially tarnish my legacy or ruin it by fighting somebody that I'm not really motivated for, turning up half-cocked like I did against George Groves in the first fight, and ruining my reputation. Calla, how are you, mate? Right. Just getting me on this. What do you think, Calla? Come on, stand here with me. It's good to see you. We're talking about my future opponent. Where do I go from here? Who do I fight? And we've also touched on George Groves' performance tonight. What did you reckon? Kessler.
The trilogy.
The ultimate businessman. Yeah. Kessler 3. I'll tell you what though.
His promise, your promise.
That is a big fight. Yeah. But is it big enough to go to Wembley Stadium?
Huge, of course it is.
I think it is.
Of course it is. Everyone who's seen the first two.
We need to put that out there and see what sort of feedback we get for the Kessler 3 and see the interest.
Call Mickle, easier pal. You call him. You two get it on.
Hey, listen,
I'll just turn up.
I'm not ruling it out. That's definitely an option.
Let's do it.
Good to see you, Calla. What did you reckon to George tonight? Did what he had to do?
Did very well.
Did he get wobbled in round 4 or not?
No.
No? He looked like he took a shot and he backed up. I mean, don't get me wrong, we'll get wobbled. But he did a good 12 rounds, got it in the bank.
Yeah.
Did what he had to do. When are you flying back?
Monday.
Oh, Monday.
Froch, Abraham Smith next week.
Yeah. Next Saturday.
Yeah.
Be a good scrap, that one.
Hey,
Take care.
See you later, mate.
thank you, Keller.
Didn't really want to do that, did I? Sort of bullied him into that interview.
Right, listen.
Yeah, one sec, mate, just wrap this up.
wrapping this up. Right, listen, I'm not going to take too much of your time. After 2 minutes,
You
it's
told
going
me
to be
this
10.
was 2 minutes.
I know, but this is my
You always do that to me, don't
I
you?
like to seduce you in with 2 minutes and
Yeah,
really
but I've
give you
seen
10.
a little envelope in your pocket and I know that's coming my way in a minute. Just hanging out there. How much is in that?
Just do
Oh,
something.
it's a big one.
Just kick his motor or something, Froch.
Leave Eddie out of it.
Kick his
Leave
motor.
him out of it. Come
Yeah.
on. Someone scratched his car the other
I
week.
know. Again,
Nothing more dickless than scratching a man's automobile.
It is
Pulp Fiction.
ridiculous.
It's bad. No,
Right.
dickless, not ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Dickless.
Ridiculous. Okay. Carl Froch, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Safe trip back to Nottingham if that's where you're going.
I am. I'm off to Nottingham now.
All right.
With, let's get him on, the Fred Meister.
Hello, Fred.
Say hello to the camera.
Hello, Fred. All right.
All right.
What's it like? Do you want?
This man gets me everywhere where I need to be, on time,
yeah, punctual?
safe, and he's got my back.
What more do you want?
And he looks like Elvis, so he can pull the women.
That's what I said earlier on.
I'm blind and I'm deaf.
And that's interesting. It's an interesting point.
Thank you very much, Elvis. All right, you've got a couple of.
Cheers, Coogan.
Yeah. Carl Froch.
Can I shake your hand?
IFL TV. Thank
Nice
you very
one, pal.
much.
I'll see you soon.
Thank
yeah?
you very much.
Nice one for getting me out there safe as well.
No problem.
Appreciate that.
Hang on, yeah.